What's good, cuz? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have a fun video for you guys. We are going to be comparing the Avengers from 2012 to the Zack Snyder's Justice League cut that just released about a week ago here in 2021. 9 years apart from these movies, which one is better? We're going to do 5 categories to judge them on who is going to win. Leave your predictions down below. Will it be Avengers from 2012 or the Justice League from 2021? If you guys are excited for the video, please do me a favor and hit that like button. If it's the first video you've seen from me, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel as well. It helps me out a bunch. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get it.
Minika, watch me on Twitch, ooh, I'm streaming. I'm on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, red button beaming. Let's get that sub count, take over YouTube, ooh, we teaming. My content so high, ooh, yeah, I'm steaming. Ooh, yeah, I'm steaming, red button beaming.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. Avengers 2012, we will be comparing to Zack Snyder's Justice League that just came out last week in 2021. 9 years apart these movies are, but I think it's fair to compare the first Avengers movie to essentially the first Justice League the way it's supposed to be. If this was the original Justice League, the theatrical cut, Avengers would blow it out of the water, but I think these movies are very evenly matched, and we want to see which one is better. I made 5 categories for us to go through today, so we will be doing those one by one. I will pick a winner for each category. The movie that has the most category wins will be the winner. Leave your comments down below who you guys think is going to win. Will Avengers be better or will the Justice League be better? And obviously a lot of this will be my opinion as well, so your opinion may be different. This isn't 100% correct. This isn't factual. A lot of this is based on opinion only, so don't hate me in the comments if I don't pick Marvel or I don't pick DC and you like the other one better. But without further ado, let's get into the first category. So we're going to start things off with the first category. We got 5 categories, like I said before, and the first one is going to be character development. Now, the character development category is going to take into account, what had happened before in their respective universes leading up to this movie, because if you take Avengers as it is, you don't really see a lot of developing that's different from their solo movies because they're already established characters, and there are some characters like that in the DCEU, like Wonder Woman, Superman, and Batman, who have been in movies before. But if we just took, the Avengers and the Justice League, obviously the Justice League has a little more character arcs because there are a bunch of new characters in this, whereas the Avengers already were established coming into this movie. Okay, so category number 1, we are going to start things off with character development. How did the characters work throughout both of these movies, in the Justice League and in Avengers? We're going to start things off with the Justice League. Now, one thing that the Justice League did not have that Marvel did is by the time that the Avengers movie did come out, majority of those characters already had their own solo movie. So Justice League really had to put a lot of stuff together to introduce a lot of these characters, because the only people who are really in movies before this, you had Wonder Woman, you had Batman, and you had Superman. So everybody else was not really introduced. They were introduced in this movie, so it was a little more difficult to develop them in this time frame that they had, but they did have a 4-hour movie, so they did have a lot of time, and I think they did a pretty good job. So we'll start things off with Cyborg, who I actually really liked his backstory. In the theatrical cut, they didn't really do a lot of work with him. We know that he didn't like his dad in the theatrical cut, but in this version, in the Snyder cut, you see why his mom passed away and how he got into that car accident with her and lost, majority of his body, and that's why he really resents his father majority of the movie. And at first he thinks he's a monster, but over time throughout the movie, he actually, he loves what he is, and he thinks he has a purpose in this world. If you guys seen the movie, obviously he has that little dream sequence with his parents, and he doesn't want to go into that world with them anymore. He wants to stay outside on Earth where he feels like he now has a purpose. So I really like what they did with Cyborg. So up next, we'll talk about Aquaman. Aquaman, he did have his own solo movie come out, I believe a year or 2 after the original Justice League did come out, but we didn't really get a lot from him in that theatrical cut version. But the Snyder cut version, we see a little bit more of him. We see why he resents Atlantis a little more, why he's not really there, doesn't like his half brother, feels like his mom really abandoned him when he was younger to be with his father, doesn't really understand the whole gist of Atlantis and what his mother really, sacrificed for him. They try to make him understand that throughout the entire movie, but by the end of it, obviously he does take his mother's trident and he does join the Justice League with them. So I do like what they did with Aquaman. Could have been a little bit better, could have been a little more developed, could have had a little more time at Atlantis, but obviously he gets a solo film. They do a little more there, but in the Justice League, not too bad. So one character we really don't get a lot of backstory on is the Flash. Really, the only thing we see from his past is his father being in jail. But other than that, we really don't know, how he got his powers. We really don't know what really happened to him and all this stuff. We only really get that one scene with his father being his backstory. Other than that, we really don't get much from him. So not a lot of backstory, but I do like what they did throughout his character throughout the movie. Thought he was a really cool character, but again, not a lot of backstory there. So now we have Wonder Woman, who did actually have her own solo movie before even the original original Justice League came out, so we do know a lot about her. Obviously, she is the daughter of Zeus, so she's part god. That explains why she has superhuman strength, durability, speed, eventually can fly, all that type of stuff. I really liked her character as well. I think she had a lot of good moments for herself where she stood out amongst the other Justice League members. Thought she was one of the most kick-ass characters in the entire film. Really enjoyed about every scene that she was in. I like what they did for her character, you know, sticking up for the Amazons, and every time Steppenwolf would mention the Amazonians, you know, how he beat them up and you could have stuck up for your sisters and stuff like that. I like that she makes them pay for it and she stands up for what she believes in, and obviously her sisters. I really liked her character in this movie. Up next, we can talk a little bit about Batman, and Batman was in a DCEU movie before the Justice League. He was in Batman vs Superman, so we didn't get his own solo movie, but we did get to see the Batman character before this. I like what he does in this movie. Obviously, he is the creator of the Justice League. He's trying to get all of these superhuman people together because he knows there's otherworldly threats that will be coming to the planet. So, you know, it is his job. He feels like his responsibility to be the leader of the Justice League, get all these people together so the Earth can stand a chance against these otherworldly threats. So I like what Batman is. He does his job very good. And, you know, he obviously is a great character. Superman, I don't think has a lot of good character development moments in the movie because he's not in half of the movie. He comes towards the end, and really I feel like his job was just to, you know, put the finishing touches on Steppenwolf towards the end of the movie, make up with Lois Lane, obviously show that he's back. So they have their little piece, but nothing really we didn't know before that. And then you have obviously help Cyborg separate the mother boxes to end the movie. But again, I don't think he really, you know, developed a lot in this movie. So now let's move on to the Marvel side for character development. And like I said earlier, obviously all of these characters, for the most part, the big ones at least, like the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, they had at least one solo movie to already develop their character as a solo act. They already established who they were. So coming into this movie, we knew what they were. Iron Man, a billionaire, you know, who originally made weapons of mass destruction. Now he feels like he, you know, has solved world peace with his Iron Man suit. You have the Hulk, who obviously that movie wasn't very well received from a lot of people. That's probably like the most outcast movie of the entire MCU, but still, you know, you get a feel for who Bruce Banner is. You know, a lot of gamma radiation led to the Hulk experiment and what had happened, and that is how he became the Incredible Hulk. Then you have Thor, obviously god of thunder from Asgard. Don't really need to go much in depth there, but he has all the powers of a god. And then you have Captain America, who obviously was just a normal person at one point, wanted to join the military, first and only person to ever have the super soldier serum, and then obviously became the best soldier in the world for his country. So in this movie, you don't really see them establish themselves as much as the Justice League do with the new characters, because all these people have already developed coming into the movie. But you do have Black Widow, who was in a former movie as well. She was in Iron Man 2. You don't learn a lot about them. Same thing with Hawkeye. You learn those more in the future of the MCU. So I don't really like what they did with them, because you don't get a lot of backstory on Black Widow or Hawkeye. You just know they're members of S.H.I.E.L.D., highly talented, you know, hand-to-hand combat, assassins, whatever you want to call them. But you don't really learn much about their backstory until later on in the MCU. You have to give Marvel credit, though, because they are the first people to ever do something like this, to merge 4 major franchises onto one movie. That was something nobody ever thought could happen, and for that reason, I'm giving them the win in the character development category, even though they didn't do a lot of it in this movie specifically. But leading up, and they put all these guys together, it meshed perfectly, and it went super well, and it was just great. So now we have category number 2, and category number 2 is going to be villain versus villain. We're going to talk about Steppenwolf, we're going to talk about Loki. Which villain was better? So Steppenwolf was much better in this version compared to the theatrical version, because in this one, you kind of got a little bit of his backstory. He was outcasted by Darkseid for failing him, I assume, a bunch of times. So he wants to get back on his good side, and the way to do that, collect all 3 mother boxes for Darkseid, even found the anti-life equation, and by, you know, completing this mission, he would probably win Darkseid's approval back. He is obviously also extremely strong, extremely durable, but he's not invincible. You know, even the Amazons were able to get those arrows into him towards the beginning of the movie, and then obviously we see he's really no match for the Justice League later in the final battle. So that's why I feel like they made him a little weak. When the Justice League showed up towards the end of the movie, as soon as they were able to get him one-on-one, once they got rid of all the parademons, he really had no chance against them, especially when Superman showed up. But Superman is Superman, so that's a little unfair. But even the regular Justice League, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, they were really just destroying him. He really had no chance against them. So it really felt like he was not like a real threat to them physically. Now we talk about Loki, and Loki was a more developed villain, I feel, and had a redemption plot line. You know, obviously he was in the first Thor movie. He wants to get back at, you know, his father, his brother, all that stuff by ruling Earth. He wants to take over it. So now he's working for Thanos, trying to get him the Tesseract to bring it over to him, to allow him to bring the Chitauri army to Earth, win it for him, and eventually rule it. But now Loki, obviously not as as strong as Steppenwolf is, so he's not really a physical threat to the Avengers as well, but I liked his character better. He had more personality, had a lot more screen time than Steppenwolf, and you really saw his plan from behind the scenes. You saw what he wanted to do throughout the entire movie, and obviously he was actually able to get the Chitauri to New York. Unfortunately, they weren't strong enough to beat the Avengers, but he almost did succeed in his plan. For that reason, I am going to give Loki the edge over Steppenwolf, so I am going to give Marvel the win in the villain versus villain category as well. So it's actually 2-0 Marvel to start. Let's talk about the third category, and the third category is going to be the final battle. You have Steppenwolf against the Justice League. You have Loki and the Chitauri Army against the Avengers. So we'll start things off with Steppenwolf and the Parademons. So we'll start things off with Steppenwolf and the Parademons. The Parademons are more annoying to the Justice League than an actual threat, where you have the Chitauri Army in the Avengers movie who are the actual physical threat, because Loki is not really as physical threat as Steppenwolf is. So the Chitauri Army have to do pick up a lot of the slack when it comes to the physical damage. The Justice League never really feel, like I said earlier, like they're at threat of losing this battle up until Steppenwolf is actually able to merge all three boxes into the Unity. Cyborg isn't able to pull them apart in time because Flash gets hit by one Parademon. One Parademon, I say, is not very impactful, but they do shoot Flash. I don't even know how he hits him to begin with, to be completely honest. I feel like that should not happen, but hits Flash in his side, is not able to charge the electrical current enough to hit Cyborg to be able to pull the mother boxes off in time. So somehow the Justice League actually lose at first, which is absolutely crazy because you don't think at all they're going to lose. They destroy Steppenwolf fairly easily towards the end after this because there's just really no physical match to them. But somehow his plan comes to be, forms the Unity. You see Darkseid coming. They're ready to invade the Earth. Business is picking up, and the Flash goes back in time to rewrite this history, gets the electrical current to Cyborg, which helps Superman pull apart the three mother boxes, and the Justice League win. That scene was absolutely beautiful. That was crazy, and that was just so well done. Couldn't believe what I was watching. That was the best moment I've seen in a long time in a superhero movie, and I think that was probably one of the best moments, if not the best moment of the Justice League moment at all. So now we have the Battle of New York in the first Avengers movie, and like I said, Loki is not really messing around with the Avengers in hand-to-hand combat, kind of like Steppenwolf was. He's letting the Chitauri Army do most of the dirty work because he can't really hang with them in physical combat. So the difference between the Avengers in the final battle and the Justice League is that the Avengers are more spread out than the Justice League were, because the Chitauri Army is just so big. You're not able to stand together, kind of like the Justice League were to fight Steppenwolf. You have to be in so many places at once to not allow the Chitauri Army to to do too much damage to the city, because they're fighting in New York City, a populated New York City that didn't know this was going to happen. The fight in the Justice League, however, is like in a deserted city. Nobody's around there, so they're able to do whatever they really need to. But the Avengers need to keep in mind that they have civilians around trying to save them, as well as fight this big army. In the final battle, I feel like not everybody had their chance to shine, kind of like the Justice League did. When the Justice League beats Steppenwolf, they chop off his head, send him back to Darkseid. They really send a crazy message to them. Really like that part of that movie. But in the Avengers, you really just had Hulk, who punches the Leviathan, which is cool and all. And then you obviously have Iron Man, who brings the nuke into space, saves the day. They close the Tesseract. The war is over. But I feel like the Justice League just ended it off on a better note, sent a message to the big bad in Darkseid, compared to what they didn't really send a message to Thanos, besides the fact that they beat the Chitauri Army, were not to be played with. But I really like what the Justice League did. The Flash scene alone, along with the message they sent to Darkseid, really enjoyed the end of that final battle. I'm giving the edge to the Justice League in this one. The fourth category we have is going to be the storyline of both movies. We're going to try to make this as quick as possible. Don't want to spend a lot of time on it. Don't want to make this video too long. So we'll start things off again with the Justice League. And obviously we have a 4-hour movie. Sounds like a lot of runtime at first, but honestly, the pacing of this movie, the fact that they split it into 6 different parts, including an epilogue, really makes it a quick watch. If you're really into these type of movies, feel like you'll probably not get up most of the time, and you'll probably watch it straight through like I did. You're getting a ton of content with this movie, with it being 4 hours. They're able to do basically whatever they wanted to do. They included all the Easter eggs, anything they wanted, they were able to do with a 4-hour runtime. But let's start things off. In the beginning of the movie, Batman is trying to recruit, people to the Justice League because he knows that there's otherworldly threats after seeing Doomsday and Batman v Superman that will be coming to Earth at some point, and he knows he needs to be ready. So they are trying to recruit people to the Justice League. Batman goes to see Aquaman. He recruits Flash. Wonder Woman goes and recruits Cyborg. So there's a big recruiting process process going on. Not everybody is aware of what's going on, so Batman needs to fill them in, and he needs to go get these people because he knows what threat is coming. One thing I want to just talk about, I don't think it really had much to do with the storyline because it was so long ago, but the flashback scene with Darkseid coming to Earth to try to form the unity with the three mother boxes and getting bodied by Ares, Zeus, and those gods and all the people fighting in that war like 5,000 years ago. That was such a great scene. Darkseid stole every scene he was in when he was on screen. That was so fun. I hope there's a second movie, obviously, at some point, so we could see Darkseid fight the Justice League. In this movie, you have the plan of the villain, which is very straightforward. He wants to get the three mother boxes, like we spoke about in the villain category. Wants to get the three mother boxes, wants to get Darkseid's approval, has to go on a quest to achieve all three mother boxes, has to fight the Atlanteans, has to fight the Amazonians, and then obviously has to grab it from Cyborg's father in that lab that they have. So that one's not as big of a fight as the other two. At first, when Batman is recruiting all of these heroes for the Justice League, isn't able to get them all, not able to get Aquaman at first. They don't really win Cyborg over at first as well. Flash is really the only one who jumps on board right away. But as time progresses throughout the movie and they realize the stakes are getting bigger and bigger, Aquaman joins, Cyborg joins, and then once they are together, they know that they must work together to beat this villain. I like that they all had kind of their own special moment to shine at some point throughout this movie. You have Flash at the end when they rescue all of those prisoners of Steppenwolf. You have them running around getting the rocks off of him. You have Aquaman who takes the spear, puts it through Steppenwolf, and fights him, you know, obviously in Atlantis as well. Wonder Woman had moments all over the place. She is just kicking butt every chance she gets. Love that. Batman was just going all over the place, doing what he needed to do. Maybe he didn't really get his chance to shine. I don't really remember. I have to watch it again. But if you feel like Batman had a really big chance to shine, put it down in the comments for me because I really don't remember. I have to watch it again to see. And then you have Superman who comes and obviously just destroys Steppenwolf, comes back. Not much of a challenge for him. So I don't know if you count this as a standalone moment because he did beat him with the Justice League, but he made quick work of him basically by himself if he had to fight him by himself. He made quick work of Steppenwolf, so I'm not sure if you would classify that as a solo moment, but I feel like maybe it is. You also have Cyborg, who's trying to, you know, get rid of these mother boxes, trying to pull them apart. I like what Cyborg did throughout the entire movie. I feel like he had a bunch of good moments. Really enjoyed his character a lot, more than I thought I would. And then lastly, Superman, who I feel like maybe also didn't get a big single moment for himself as well. Maybe because they were in other movies, Batman and Superman, they didn't really have a lot of good solo moments in this film. Don't really know, but you do have Superman at the end that obviously puts the finishing touches on Steppenwolf, makes it look easy when he's doing it. So I guess if you want, you could classify that as Superman's single moment there. Then we have the Avengers. So the runtime obviously of Avengers is 90 minutes shorter than the Justice League. So if you're somebody who doesn't have the time to watch a 4-hour movie or the attention span to watch a 4-hour movie, the Avengers would probably be more in your favor because it's 2.5 hours. Loki comes right off the bat. The villain is introduced as soon as the movie begins. He has his plan, wants to get the Tesseract to launch the Chitauri army to win himself the Earth. So the plan is very straightforward from the beginning. What I always have liked better about the Justice League compared to the Avengers here is that in this movie you have Nick Fury, who is recruiting them, who obviously is the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. and is the person who should be recruiting them, but I just always found it more cool that Batman made this Justice League by himself and he is going out to recruiting all those guys. So that's why I like the Justice League better in that aspect. But once this happens, once Loki gets his plan, the Avengers initiative has to be kicked into motion. Nick Fury knows that this is an otherworldly threat that the regular military cannot solve, and he needs these superhumans who he originally wanted to start this Avengers initiative, canceled it, but he knows he has to put this into motion now. So the Avengers do wind up capturing Loki. It's only Captain America and Iron Man that do it in Germany. When they work together, they bring him into custody essentially, but that's part of his plan. He wants to be trapped on that plane or that airplane carrier, whatever it's called, to unleash the Hulk on the Avengers, put them against each other, make them fight each other, and then allow himself to get to New York and launch the Chitauri army, which he actually succeeds in doing. And then you have the third act in the Battle of New York, which is one of the best superhero scenes of all time, one of the best superhero fights of all time, one of the best third acts of all time in superhero movies history. And then obviously the Avengers are able to win that fight. Iron Man sends the nuke through the Tesseract portal, closes that, and the Chitauri army are dead, blows up the mothership, and the Avengers win, capture Loki, and Thor takes him to Asgard, and that's it. So category number 4, storyline, I am going to give the edge to Avengers once again, which is going to make the total count as it stands right now 3-1. So it looks like Marvel is going to take this one, but we will still do the 5th category. And up next, category number 5, we have have the stronger team. So I'm sure this category is going to get the comments going. Who do you guys think is stronger? If you guys are enjoying the video, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know what I've got wrong so far, what I've got right. I've tried to make this video as quick as possible. Obviously, I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, so I'm definitely leaving out some parts of each movie that probably should be covered if we did a longer version of this, but I don't want to make the video too long. But if you want me to do a longer version of this video, I can include more parts, go more in depth. But let's do category number 5. We have the stronger team. We have the Justice League. We have the Avengers. Let's start off with the Justice League. So the Justice League are full of heavy-hitting juggernauts. We have Aquaman, who can breathe underwater, has super strength, eventual king of Atlantis. Then you have the Flash, who could run at super speed, reverse time, charge items with an electrical current, kind of like he did with the mother boxes. Then you have Cyborg, who can hack into basically any machine he wants, can hack into Iron Man's suit if he so wanted to, and use it to his advantage. Then he can fly, has weapons attached to his body, kind of like Iron Man has attached to his suit. Then you have Wonder Woman, who's the daughter of Zeus, so she's part god, has super strength, can fly, has super healing factors and durability. Then you have Batman, who's the rich billionaire, kind of like Iron Man, but his suit doesn't really come with a lot of strength, but he is trained in tons of different types of fighting styles, has a tons of gadgets that he uses to his advantage. And then lastly, you have Superman. Enough said. But now we got the Avengers, and the Avengers are no slouches either. You have Captain America, who's a superhuman with superhuman strength, superhuman speed, durability, stuff like that. You have Iron Man, billionaire, very powerful suit, weapons of mass destruction attached to his suit that he can use to his advantage. You have Thor, who is a god as well, like Wonder Woman is, the god of thunder, superhuman strength, can fly with Mjolnir, can summon lightning, just to name a few tactics from him. So then we have the Hulk. The Hulk has unlimited super strength, only gets stronger with anger, has super durability, can jump super high, can move very quickly, just an absolute beast. Lastly, we got Black Widow and Hawkeye, who obviously don't have any superpowers, but they are highly trained in hand-to-hand combat with weapons, stuff like that. They are no slouches in their own right. For the winner for category number 5, I'm giving it to the Justice League. They are the stronger team, just absolute juggernauts on that side. I think they would make work of the Avengers fairly easily if they battled in a fight at some point. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, Marvel and the Avengers of 2012 win against Zack Snyder's Justice League cut 3-2 in the categories. A very close matchup, but in total, I am giving the win to the Avengers. If you guys think I got it wrong, again, these are my opinions. You guys could think that Zack Snyder's Justice League cut is better than the Avengers, or you could think Avengers is better than Justice League. That is completely fine. These will be completely opinion-based at some point. It's not factual, so it's going to be hard. It's going to be based on your opinion, so don't hate me in the comments if I picked Marvel and you like DC better. But that's gonna do it for the video, guys. If you guys did enjoy, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I would greatly appreciate it. Follow me on my social medias, which are on the screen for you guys right now. I would appreciate that as well. But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.